Now, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him, and he began to teach them. And he said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Now, as you hear these words, as you hear these Beatitudes, these teachings of Jesus as he sat on the side of the mount to begin to teach the crowds, how do you feel? What are things that rise up in you when you hear these words? Blessed are the poor in spirit. Do you feel this is for you? Do you maybe feel a little bit inadequate? We hear words like blessed are, and we wonder, is that for me? Or is that for someone else out there? Blessed are the poor in spirit. Am I poor in spirit? Like, what is poor in spirit? Am I achieving this? Am I working my way to being poor in spirit? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Do I measure up to these Beatitudes? What are you talking about, Jesus? Am I inadequate? So we're going to look at Matthew chapter 7. So the Sermon on the Mount is found from chapters 5 to chapter 7, these two chapters, starting in verse 28 and 29. And Matthew writes, when Jesus had finished saying these things, so when he's finished preaching, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught as one who had authority and not as their teachers of the law. The crowds were amazed. Now, who's this crowds? Who are these people that are amazed? And Matthew is careful here to show us that this is not the elite, the religious leader, the super spiritually, people that you look at and like, oh, that's a spiritual guru. That person knows what's going on with God. He's saying these are the ordinary people. And they are amazed that Jesus is teaching not like the elite religious leaders. And I think it's important for us to start there. And he used the language that feels familiar to us, right? Like we've heard words like blessed, I just read them, blessed are. And I think also another point for us to really unpack before we go further is that he's speaking to an ordinary crowd, but he's using a language, blessed here, that sounds very religious, and it is. But here's where our English language fails us a little bit. Because when we start speaking with blessed are, our language, our connotation gives us a sense of a condition, right? Doesn't it? Blessed are those of you who are poor in spirit. And so I need to work my way to be poor in spirit, because if I'm not, does that mean that probably means I'm not blessed, or at worst means I'm cursed, right? It carries this connotation. So I think it's important for us to see that Jesus is speaking to the ordinary crowd, and he begins with this word blessed in a specific way. Now the word here in Greek is makarios. And this word does mean fortunate, blessed, it does carry those things. But what's beautiful in this Greek here, in this translation, is that this word does hold a condition of earning. It doesn't hold a condition of earning, but it does hold conditional meaning in it. And I'll explain what I mean by that. And it's really important to catch this. We tend to read it as, as I said earlier, I will be blessed if I do this. If I achieve this level of spirituality, then I will be blessed. But the word holds in it a purpose and blessing for those that feel inadequate. So it's not an achievement. It's not a condition like if I just do these things, then I will be blessed. It actually holds within it this posture, this way of being that you are blessed when you find yourself not measuring up, when you find yourself inadequate. So Jesus begins his whole teaching to this ordinary, diverse group of people who are amazed that he's teaching not like the religious elites, not like those in power. And he starts that the blessings are for those of you who are living in systems of inadequacy. Systems of inadequacy in you and around you. People, we need to be reminded that Jesus is speaking to this crowd that's ordinary, that's not elite, but also a crowd that's living in oppression of a Roman Empire, who are feeling the squeeze of oppression, who are feeling the marginalization, the injustice, the inadequacy of their existence. And Jesus says, blessed are you. And he jolts us with his proclamations of blessedness. How can I be blessed when I'm marginalized? How can I be blessed when I'm inadequate? What are you talking about, Jesus? And he jolts us to listen more. And the crowds are amazed because this is not how all the religious leaders teach. And so he starts with, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Now, context here and meaning here is the poor in spirit are those who know they have nothing in them or with them to earn the kingdom of God. They can give nothing to earn it, and they know it. They're not the blessed of this world. And Jesus starts his teaching with them. Blessed are the inadequate, the poor with nothing to offer. You are blessed. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Those who mourn. Well, the mourn here, the Greek word here, is actually the strongest word for a grief in Greek language. Like the strongest word you can have for grief, this is the mourn word here. And Jesus says, blessed are you. Blessed are you when you are in the piercing sorrow of life. Blessed are you. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. But what it's talking about here is blessed are those that are powerless and unseen, who are in their humility are humble. Blessed are you who do not bulldoze anyone over, but are rather humble and gentle, because you will inherit the earth, even though it seems that the powerful, the elite, the boorish control it now. Blessed are you. Blessed are you. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. And Jesus says, blessed are you when you yearn for rightness and for justice. Blessed are you when this is your way of life. Even though you find yourself inadequate, you see that the world is not as it should be. There's something in you, in the created purposes, that you yearn for hope and justice. Blessed are you when you pursue the good of others, even though it costs you. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Right? It's much harder to give mercy than to receive it. We all like it when others are merciful to us, when they understand our intentions or they forgive us and they're merciful. But to offer mercy, to give it to somebody who, especially if they don't deserve it, man. And yet the kingdom of God looks this way. When we offer mercy, we receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. And I think what would be helpful for us as Jesus speaks to this diverse crowd, and as he meets them right where they're at, and he says, blessed are you when you feel inadequate, what he's speaking of here is to be best understood to mean that when you pursue God, that when you cry out, that when you seek God, when you enter these spiritual practices of going, God, where are you? I don't have enough. I'm at the end of my rope. Where are you, God? When we pour out our lives to God, this is the purity of heart. When we reach out to God, not that we have everything solved and figured out and perfect, is that pouring out, is that asking God, is searching for him, is our commitment to engage with God in all of our inadequacies. This is the pure of heart, not our perfection. And Jesus goes on and says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. It is the weak and the vulnerable who are often the first who are stuck in the crossfires of collateral damage. Blessed are you when you say no to this, when you reject this, when you live in a way that speaks against this violence, even when it's being perpetuated to you, even when it's being done to you. Blessed are you. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Maybe when you are mocked, misunderstood, hated for choosing justice, rightness, and goodness, blessed are you when you stand for what is right, even when others mock you. And interestingly enough, then Jesus doubles down on this one and he says, blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me, because of Jesus. Rejoice and be glad because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Jesus repeats this because the systems and kingdoms we live in of our world are hard to leave, right? We can acknowledge together sometimes that the systems are not good, that they're oppressive, that they're violent. We can acknowledge that even pursuing the rat race of like getting more money or becoming more powerful, whatever it is. We can all acknowledge that's not good, but how do you leave that system? How do you step out of that? There's a risk. So blessed are you when people insult you, when you step out of the systems that are destroying us.